I'm grateful you're here right now, because tonight marks a turning point. Not metaphorically, not eventually. Tonight, something real is stirring in the depths of your awareness. You might sense it already, a subtle current beneath everything else, a voice that says, "This moment matters. This moment is different." Tonight isn't just another evening in an endless series. You've been caught in a cycle, a pattern that repeats itself with such consistency that you've stopped questioning it. The same awakening, the same mental loops, the same quiet concerns that occupy your mind before you even open your eyes. You recognize this. You know before the day begins exactly how it will unfold. The same routines, the same conversations, the same thoughts recycling themselves. And when night falls, that same hollow feeling settles in. But there's something beyond all this. It's not somewhere distant. It's not waiting in tomorrow. It's not held by anyone else. It lives in you. It's been there all along. You've been anticipating change, scanning the horizon for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances, the unmistakable signal that says now. But here's the truth that shifts everything. There is no anticipation. There's only choice. This moment is the one. What you've been asking the universe for, what fills your vision when you dream, it's already positioned and waiting. It's waiting for you to claim your readiness. You've been circling. That circle isn't something you created intentionally. It's simply a program your deeper mind has been running on repeat. A routine that maintains your current position because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. Your consciousness gravitates toward what it recognizes, even when recognition comes with pain, even when it prevents your expansion. Tonight, though, clarity arrives. You're witnessing how this pattern has held you in place. You've been experiencing the same circumstances again and again without realizing you held the power to interrupt the cycle. And now something has shifted. You feel it in your core. Can you sense it? Some part of you has grown weary of the old narrative, exhausted by playing small, done with holding back the magnitude of what you're capable of becoming. Average was never your destiny. Survival was never the goal. You came here to create, to expand into larger versions of yourself, to experience life at full capacity. That journey begins in this moment, because right now you face a genuine choice. You can remain as the version who questions everything, who carries fear, who pauses before acting, who needs external proof before believing. Or you can embody the version who stands in certainty, the one who moves first, the one who believes before the evidence appears, the one who already lives from that realized state, the one who moves through the world as if their ideal reality is already materialized. That version exists right now, waiting. You don't need anyone's permission to step into that identity. You don't require validation from outside yourself. You don't need a roadmap showing every step. You simply need to decide. Pause for a breath and visualize this. Not who you've been up until now, but who you're becoming. See the version of you who's already living it. The one who rises each day in peace, confidence, and perfect alignment with their vision. The one who looks at their world and feels profound gratitude for what surrounds them. You can see them with perfect clarity. That's not fantasy. That's recognition. That's your authentic self waiting to be remembered. And recognition is happening now. Everything you've been calling towards you already exists in the energetic realm. It's waiting for your frequency to match its frequency, to sync with it completely. This is the true mechanism of manifestation. It's not about forcing things into existence through effort. It's about adjusting your vibration to harmonize with what's already yours in potential. You don't receive what you wish for. You receive what you've become at the deepest level. Tonight, you're becoming the one you were always designed to be. Because this is the inflection point. This is where everything rewrites itself. Not when physical proof shows up. Not when it feels comfortable or easy to trust. But right now, in this moment when you choose faith before confirmation. This is how you architect a new reality. This is how you reclaim your creative power. And here's what most people don't understand about this process. They think transformation happens in one dramatic moment, one lightning strike of awakening that changes everything instantly. But that's not how consciousness actually evolves. Real transformation happens in layers. It happens in the quiet moments between your thoughts. It happens when you catch yourself repeating an old pattern and choose differently. It happens when you feel the pull of the familiar and consciously step toward the unknown instead. Your brain has been wired through years of repetition. Neural pathways have been carved deep through the same thoughts traveled over and over. Every time you think a thought, you strengthen that pathway. Every time you feel an emotion, you reinforce that pattern. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in physical reality and what you're generating in your mind. It simply responds to the signals you're sending. This is neuroscience meeting quantum physics. This is where ancient wisdom meets modern understanding. When you begin to shift your internal state, you're literally rewiring your brain in real time. You're creating new neural pathways. You're teaching your nervous system a new way of being. And your nervous system is the bridge between your consciousness and your physical experience. When your nervous system learns to exist in a state of peace, abundance, and possibility, your external reality must reorganize to match. This isn't magical thinking. This is how your biology works. But here's the challenge. Your nervous system has been conditioned to stay in familiar states, even painful ones. It's been trained to expect certain outcomes. It's been programmed to look for evidence of lack, danger, and limitation. That's survival conditioning. That's the ancient part of your brain trying to keep you safe by keeping you the same. It doesn't understand that you're not trying to survive anymore. You're trying to thrive. You're trying to expand into the fullness of what you came here to be. So when you start this process, your nervous system will resist. It will send you signals that feel like fear, anxiety, or doubt. These signals aren't evidence that something is wrong. They're evidence that something is changing. Your system is recalibrating. It's adjusting to a new baseline. And during that adjustment period, it will try to pull you back to what it knows. This is where most people give up. They interpret the discomfort as a sign to stop. But the discomfort is actually a sign to continue. Here's where we go deeper. This is the place where most people abandon the path. They experience initial excitement about transformation. They declare their readiness. They promise themselves they'll show up differently. Then reality applies pressure and discomfort returns. Old thought patterns resurface. Uncertainty creeps back in. And they interpret this as evidence that nothing is working. But that interpretation is completely backwards. When the process starts feeling challenging, that's not breakdown. That's breakthrough. It's evidence that your former identity is being dissolved, restructured, elevated. The version of you that operated from fear is disintegrating in real time. The energy that kept you contracted is being released from your system. This is growth actively occurring. This is what transformation actually feels like. It creates discomfort precisely because you're entering unfamiliar territory. You're moving into the unknown, and your survival-oriented mind naturally resists anything it can't predict. Think about it like this. Imagine you've been living in a small room your entire life. The room is cramped and limiting, but it's familiar. You know every corner. You know where everything is. You've adapted to the space even though it doesn't serve you. Then one day, you decide to step out of that room into a vast, open landscape. At first, that openness might feel overwhelming. The unlimited space might feel disorienting. Part of you might want to retreat back to that small room, because at least you knew how to navigate it. That's what's happening in your consciousness right now. You're stepping out of the limited identity you've been living in. You're moving into a larger version of yourself, and that larger version has more space, more possibility, more potential. But it also requires you to learn a new way of navigating. It requires you to release the maps that got you here, and trust that you'll discover the path as you walk it. This is the journey of faith. Not faith in some external deity or force, but faith in yourself. Faith in the intelligence that animates your body without your conscious effort. Faith in the same force that grows trees from seeds and orchestrates entire ecosystems. That intelligence is inside you. It's always been inside you. You've just been taught to doubt it, to override it with logic and strategy and control. But this time is different. You're not going to retreat. You're not returning to what felt safe simply because it was known. You've already seen too much of your own power. You've already felt something awakening inside you. You can't pretend ignorance anymore. You can't unsee what you now understand. The universe operates as a perfect mirror, every single time, without exception. If you want something new to appear, you must first become someone new. You cannot create from the same energetic state that constructed your previous reality. Your state must shift. You must begin living from the new frequency immediately. This is the practice. You think the thoughts that belong to that version, the one who's already living your desired reality. What fills their mind each day? How do they communicate? How do they carry themselves? How do they perceive their world? You start acting as they would, feeling as they would, speaking as they would, consistently, daily. Not as performance or pretense, but as genuine energetic alignment. Because alignment attracts everything that matches that specific state. When you embody it consistently enough, physical reality reorganizes itself to reflect it back to you. Let's get practical about this for a moment. What does this actually look like in your daily life? It starts the moment you open your eyes in the morning, before you reach for your phone, before you let your mind start spinning through your to-do list. You take a moment. You feel into the version of you who's already living your desired reality. What does that person feel when they wake up? Gratitude? Peace? Excitement? You generate that feeling in your body right now, in this moment, before any external circumstance has given you a reason to feel it. That's the key. You don't wait for your reality to change before you change your state. You change your state first, and then your reality follows. This is the reversal that most people never grasp. They think they'll feel abundant when they have more money. They think they'll feel confident when they achieve success. They think they'll feel peaceful when their problems are solved. But that's backwards. You must generate the feeling first. You must become abundant in your energy before abundance appears in your bank account. You must embody confidence before the achievements arrive. You must cultivate peace before the problems dissolve. Throughout your day, you catch yourself. You notice when you're slipping back into old patterns of thinking. When you catch yourself worrying about money, you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself, I am abundant. Everything I need is already provided. You feel that truth in your body even if your bank account doesn't reflect it yet. When you catch yourself doubting your abilities, you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself, I am capable. I am worthy. I am enough. You embody that truth even if the external validation hasn't arrived yet. Take a moment and share in the comments. What's one old pattern you're ready to release tonight? Naming it creates the first crack in its hold over you. This is the practice. It's not complicated, but it requires consistency. It requires you to be conscious throughout your day, catching the old patterns before they pull you back into the old frequency. Over time, this becomes automatic. The new thoughts become more natural than the old ones. The new feelings become your baseline. And that's when everything in your external world begins to shift. The universe isn't moved by how hard you try. It responds to what you're emanating. And your emanation is constructed from belief, from deep inner knowing and emotional resonance. Every single day, you're manifesting something, whether you're conscious of it or not. Every thought, every word, every emotional state is a transmission you're broadcasting. What are you broadcasting right now? Scarcity, anxiety, or abundance and certainty? If this understanding is landing with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue receiving these transmissions when you need them most. You're always in creation mode, even during periods when it appears that nothing is shifting. You're never actually stuck. You're simply resonating at your historical frequency. That's why experience feels repetitive, but now you can change it. The moment you change your thinking, your vibration changes instantly. And when your vibration transforms, your external world must reorganize itself to match. This is universal law, not philosophy. This is the mechanics of how reality construction always operates. Let me share something that will completely shift how you see this process. In quantum physics, there's a principle called the observer effect. It states that the act of observation changes what's being observed. At the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of pure potential until they're observed. The moment they're observed, they collapse into a specific form. Your consciousness is the observer. Your reality is the particle field of pure potential. When you observe from a place of lack, you collapse potential into experiences of lack. When you observe from a place of abundance, you collapse potential into experiences of abundance. This means you're not trying to change what already exists. You're selecting which potential reality you want to experience from the infinite field of possibilities. Every version of you already exists in potential. The version who's struggling financially exists as a potential. The version who's thriving abundantly exists as a potential. The version who's lonely exists as a potential. The version who's surrounded by love exists as a potential. You're choosing which version to collapse into your lived experience through the quality of your observation, which is determined by the quality of your consciousness. This is why your internal state matters so much. This is why you can't afford to stay in lower vibrational states for extended periods. Every moment you spend in fear, doubt, or lack, you're collapsing that version of reality into form. Every moment you spend in faith, certainty, and abundance, you're collapsing that version into form. You're the observer. You're the one choosing which potential becomes actual. Now, what we've explored here tonight is the foundation, the awakening to your role as conscious observer. But there's an entire architecture of frequencies beyond this, a complete system for mastering each layer of consciousness transmission. In my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery, I walk you through the 9 master frequencies that transform you from someone who seeks manifestation to someone who lives as the field itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. It begins simply with a single new thought, a single new belief you choose to hold. Rather than saying, "I can't do this," you say, "I already am this." Rather than saying, "I don't have it yet," you say, "It's already mine in this moment." Rather than asking, "When will this happen?" you declare, "Now," because now is the only point where creation occurs. Keep repeating it. Keep embodying it. Keep standing unwavering in it. Because your reality is constructed through repetition combined with emotion. The more you repeat a concept, the more it becomes integrated into your identity. This is how your subconscious learns and builds who you are. This is how you rewrite your programming from limitation to limitlessness. You don't battle the old story. You nourish the new one until it becomes dominant. And one morning you'll open your eyes, and something extraordinary will have occurred. You'll realize you've transformed into the person you once only imagined. And it will feel natural, effortless, calm, as though it was always inevitable. That's the true magic of this process. That's what you're generating right now. Now I want you to pause and comment below with this specific phrase. I choose my new frequency now. Not as a casual interaction, but as a declaration to the quantum field, as a signal that you're consciously interrupting the old loop. When you type those words and send them into this space, you're creating an energetic marker in your timeline. You're telling the universe, I'm choosing differently from this moment forward. So go ahead, pause this video and comment. I choose my new frequency now. Let that be your first conscious act of creation tonight. This isn't about pretending until it happens. This isn't about manipulating outcomes through willpower. This is about becoming. This is about remembering what you've always been. You are powerful beyond measure, unlimited in potential, capable of generating entire worlds. You've simply been asleep to this truth. But tonight, full awakening arrives. This is your expanded awareness, and there's no reversing it now. From this point forward, everything begins moving differently around you. The shift has initiated. Energy is already reorganizing itself in response to your new state. This is where you step into it entirely, without reservation. No more partial commitment. No more waiting for external signs to validate what you already know. No more seeking approval from outside yourself. The proof exists within you already. The signs are everywhere around you, and they've been waiting for you to say yes. Let's talk about what happens next, because this is where the real magic begins to reveal itself. As you maintain this new frequency, you'll start noticing what seem like coincidences. A person you've been thinking about will suddenly reach out. An opportunity will appear out of nowhere. You'll stumble upon information exactly when you need it. Resources will show up just as you require them. Most people dismiss these as random luck, but there's no such thing as random when you're operating at a higher frequency. These synchronicities are evidence that you're aligned, They're the universe's way of confirming, yes, you're on the right path. Keep going. The more aligned you become, the more frequent these synchronicities appear. Eventually, they become so common that you stop being surprised by them. You expect them. You trust that whatever you need will arrive precisely when you need it. This is what it means to live in flow. But here's what you need to understand about this flow state. It doesn't mean everything becomes easy. It doesn't mean challenges disappear. It means you develop a different relationship with challenge. You stop seeing obstacles as problems and start seeing them as redirections. You stop interpreting difficulty as evidence that you're off track and start understanding it as evidence that you're being refined, strengthened, prepared for the next level. Every challenge that appears on your path from this point forward is actually a gift. It's showing you where you still have attachments to the old way of being. It's revealing where you're still holding resistance. It's offering you an opportunity to practice your new frequency under pressure. Because anyone can maintain a high vibration when everything is going well. The real test is maintaining that frequency when life challenges you. That's when you prove to yourself and to the universe that this transformation is real and lasting. From this moment, embody the version of you who has already arrived. Move differently through space. Breathe with different awareness. Think from a different foundation. Carry yourself with quiet certainty and deep inner peace. When you know something in your bones, you stop needing to prove it to anyone. You simply live it. When trust is complete, you stop chasing. That's true attraction. That's how everything begins flowing to you with ease. You stop pursuing and allow things to find you. You stop demanding answers and begin moving in faith. You stop being concerned about timing because time is now working in your favor. Everything you desire is being arranged behind the visible curtain. Your only role is to remain aligned. Your only job is to stay open to what comes. Each day, you make choices that match your elevated state. You treat yourself with the care that elevated version would show. You speak to yourself with kindness. You act on the impulses that feel inspired. You trust the pull you feel because intuition is the universe guiding you. Think about this for a moment. Every person you admire, every being who's accomplished what seems impossible, every individual who's created extraordinary things, they all learned this secret. They all discovered that external reality is shaped by internal state. They all realized that the world responds to who you're being, not what you're doing. Action is important, yes. But inspired action from an aligned state creates completely different results than forced action from a desperate state. When you're operating from alignment, your actions are effortless. They don't feel like work. They feel like natural expression. You're not pushing against resistance. You're flowing with momentum. Doors open before you reach them. Resources appear before you ask. People say yes before you've finished your request. This is what happens when your frequency matches what you're calling in. The universe doesn't make you struggle for what's already yours. It only appears difficult when you're out of alignment with what you're asking for. Every subtle nudge is the universe communicating. Go this direction. Trust this path. Follow this thread. And synchronicities begin appearing at an accelerated rate. This is how the new timeline forms. Quietly, organically, inevitably. It begins in the invisible realm. You sense it before any physical evidence manifests. Then the confirmation appears, one moment at a time, one experience at a time. People respond to you differently. Opportunities open that weren't there before. You notice more beauty, more harmony, more flow surrounding you. You feel lighter in your body. That's when you know the shift is complete. That's when you know you've crossed into a new timeline. And here's something profound that happens during this transition. You'll notice that certain people start falling away from your life. Relationships that once felt important suddenly feel misaligned. Situations that used to consume your attention suddenly feel irrelevant. This isn't something to mourn. It's something to celebrate. It's evidence that your frequency has shifted, like attracts like. When you change your frequency, you naturally begin to attract different people, different circumstances, different opportunities. The old must fall away to make space for the new. Some people will try to pull you back. They'll tell you you're changing too much. They'll say you're becoming different. They'll express concern that you're losing yourself. But here's the truth they don't understand. You're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. You're shedding the false identity you constructed to fit into a world that was too small for you. You're releasing the mask you wore to make others comfortable. You're stepping into the authentic expression of who you've always been beneath all the conditioning. Let them be uncomfortable. Their discomfort isn't your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor the truth awakening inside you. Your responsibility is to follow the path that's calling you, even when others can't see where you're going. The people who are meant to walk with you into this new frequency will rise to meet you there. The ones who aren't will naturally fall away. Trust this process. Release with love and continue forward. If this content is touching something deep in you, if these words are activating something you've always known but couldn't articulate, then I invite you to subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to this frequency. To this movement of conscious creators who understand that we're not victims of circumstance, we're architects of reality. Hit that subscribe button as a declaration that you're choosing to stay connected to this understanding, to remain in this elevated conversation, to keep receiving the reminders and teachings that support your highest evolution. Continue forward. Continue trusting. Continue embodying more of this frequency. Everything you've requested is already complete in vibrational form. What remains is simply staying there long enough for it to materialize. Maintain that state and it will crystallize in your physical experience. And it will. It always does when alignment is sustained. But let me be clear about something. Maintaining alignment doesn't mean you'll never have a negative thought again. It doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt or fear. You're human. These emotions are part of the human experience. The difference now is that you won't identify with them. You won't let them define you or dictate your actions. You'll observe them, acknowledge them, and then consciously choose to return to your higher frequency. Think of it like this. Your consciousness is like the sky. Emotions are like weather patterns moving through that sky. Sometimes there are storms. Sometimes there are clouds. Sometimes there's brilliant sunshine. But the sky itself remains unchanged by any of this weather. It simply allows the weather to pass through. You are the sky. Your emotions are the weather. Learn to observe them without becoming them. Learn to feel them without letting them control you. This is emotional mastery. This is what it means to be a conscious creator. So tonight, allow this to be the moment of complete decision. Let tonight be when you fully embody your highest self. The night you release all doubt. The night you let old fear dissolve. Say it quietly inside. or out loud if you choose. I am ready. I am worthy. I am enough. I am aligned. Feel those words in your cells. Feel the energy moving through your entire being right now. That's alignment actively occurring. That's your future self merging with this present moment. As you speak these words, something is actually happening in your energy field. Your vibration is shifting. Your frequency is rising. If you could see yourself through infrared imaging right now, you would see your energy field expanding, brightening, becoming more coherent. This isn't metaphor. This is measurable reality. Your body is electromagnetic. Your thoughts and emotions generate electromagnetic signals. When you shift your internal state, you shift your electromagnetic signature. And your electromagnetic signature is what the universe responds to. Live from that frequency every single day. Wake tomorrow and move as if it's already complete. Smile as if you already possess it. Speak as if it's here now, because it is. And soon your external world will catch up to your internal state. You'll witness it in your relationships, in your financial reality, in your physical health, in how people treat you, in how life moves for you. Everything will begin reflecting that new state back with perfect accuracy. You won't be chasing anymore. You'll be attracting. That's the magnitude of your power. Watch how your relationships transform. The people who resonate with your new frequency will be drawn closer. Connections will deepen. Conversations will become more meaningful. Conflicts that used to drain you will simply dissolve because you're no longer energetically available for that kind of interaction. New people will appear who match this elevated version of you. Friendships will form that feel like soul recognition. Partnerships will emerge that support your highest path. And this isn't just about romantic relationships or friendships. This is about every single interaction you have. The barista at your coffee shop will smile at you differently. Strangers will strike up conversations that lead to unexpected connections. Your family members will start responding to you in new ways, even if they don't understand what's changed. You're radiating a different frequency, and everyone around you can feel it, even if they can't articulate what they're sensing. You'll also notice that conflicts that used to hook you emotionally no longer have the same charge. Someone can say something that would have triggered you before, and you'll feel nothing but compassion. You'll see their pain, their fear, their unconscious patterns, and you won't take it personally anymore. You won't need to defend yourself or prove anything. You'll simply hold your frequency and allow them to have their experience. This is true power. Not the power to control others, but the power to remain centered regardless of what's happening around you. Watch how your financial reality transforms. Opportunities will present themselves that you never could have planned or predicted. Income streams will open from unexpected sources. The right clients, customers, or employers will find you at exactly the right time. Money will begin to flow more easily because you're no longer blocking it with beliefs of unworthiness or scarcity. You'll make decisions from abundance rather than fear, and those decisions will create abundant results. Here's something most people don't talk about when it comes to money and manifestation. Money is just energy. It's a tool, a resource, a symbol of exchange. But we've been conditioned to give it so much power over our emotional state. We've been taught that having money means we're worthy, successful, and secure. We've been programmed to believe that lack of money means we're failing, struggling, and undeserving. But all of this is just programming. It's not truth. The truth is that money flows to those who are open to receiving it. And you can't be open to receiving if you're in a state of contraction, worry, or desperation. These emotional states literally close your energy field to incoming flow. When you're worried about money, you're affirming its absence. When you're desperate for money, you're confirming that you don't have it. Your vibration is broadcasting lack, and the universe can only match that frequency with more experiences of lack. But when you shift into genuine gratitude for what you already have, when you feel abundant even before your bank account reflects it, you open yourself to receive. You become a vibrational match for more abundance. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, as they say. It's not about injustice or unfairness. It's about frequency. Those who feel abundant attract more abundance. Those who feel lacking attract more lack. Change your frequency, and you change your financial reality. It's that simple and that profound. Watch how your health transforms. When you're living in alignment with your highest frequency, your body naturally returns to balance. Stress decreases, inflammation reduces, energy increases. You'll find yourself naturally choosing foods that nourish you, naturally moving your body in ways that strengthen it, naturally prioritizing rest when you need it. Your body knows how to heal itself. It's been waiting for your consciousness to create the conditions that allow that healing to occur. Your body is not separate from your consciousness. Every cell in your body is listening to every thought you think. Every emotion you feel creates a cascade of chemical responses throughout your entire system. When you're living in chronic stress, fear, or anxiety, your body remains in survival mode. In survival mode, healing isn't a priority. Your body is focused on keeping you alive, not on thriving. But when you shift into a state of safety, peace, and alignment, your body receives the signal that it's safe to heal, safe to regenerate, safe to return to optimal function. You'll notice changes you didn't even expect. Sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. Chronic pain that you've carried for years begins to ease. Digestion improves. Skin clears. Energy that used to crash by midday now sustains you from morning to night. These aren't coincidences. This is your body responding to the new frequency you're holding. This is your biology aligning with your elevated consciousness. So as you prepare for sleep tonight, don't just hope for transformation. Expect it. Feel it. Know that something is shifting in this exact moment. Something invisible, something massive is aligning itself for you. It's forming the next chapter of your reality tonight. When you wake, remember this moment with crystal clarity. Remember tonight as the night everything changed. There's something else I need to share with you about this process. Something that will help you navigate the journey ahead. As you begin to embody this new frequency more consistently, you might experience what I call frequency gaps. These are moments where you suddenly drop back into your old state, seemingly out of nowhere. 1 minute you're feeling aligned, confident, and elevated. The next minute doubt floods in, or fear grips you, or you find yourself spiraling into old worry patterns. When this happens, and it will happen, don't panic. Don't interpret it as failure or evidence that nothing has changed. These frequency gaps are actually part of the integration process. Think of it like learning to play an instrument. When you first start, you have to consciously think about every note, every finger placement, every movement. It's awkward and effortful. But as you practice, moments of flow begin to emerge where you forget you're trying, and the music just comes through you. Then suddenly you hit a wrong note, and you're back to conscious effort again. Your consciousness works the same way. You're learning a new way of being. There will be moments of effortless flow where your new frequency feels completely natural, and there will be moments where you fall back into old patterns. This doesn't mean you're failing. This means you're in process. This means you're integrating. Every time you catch yourself in a frequency gap and consciously choose to return to alignment, you're strengthening that new neural pathway. You're teaching your system that the new frequency is home now. The key is not to judge yourself when these gaps occur. Judgment just keeps you stuck in the lower frequency longer. Instead, observe with compassion. Oh, I'm in fear right now. That's okay. I know how to return to center. Then use whatever practice works for you to shift back. Maybe it's breathing. Maybe it's repeating your affirmations. Maybe it's visualizing your desired reality. Maybe it's moving your body. Find what works for you and use it consistently. Over time, the gaps will become shorter and less frequent. Eventually, your new frequency will become your default state. Another thing that happens during this transition is what I call reality lag. You shift your frequency internally, but your external reality doesn't immediately reflect it. There's a gap between the internal shift and the external manifestation. This is where most people lose faith. They do the internal work, they hold the new frequency, but nothing seems to change in their outer world. So they decide it's not working, and they give up right before the breakthrough. But here's what you need to understand about reality lag. Physical reality is denser than energetic reality. It takes time for your elevated frequency to reshape the physical circumstances of your life. Think of it like turning a massive ship. When you turn the wheel, the ship doesn't immediately change direction. There's momentum carrying it in the old direction. But if you hold the wheel steady in the new direction, eventually the ship responds. The bigger the ship, the longer it takes to turn. Your life is the ship. Your consciousness is the wheel. When you shift your internal state, you've turned the wheel. But your life has momentum in the old direction. All the habits, patterns, relationships, circumstances that were created from your old frequency are still in motion. They don't immediately disappear. But if you hold your new frequency steady, if you don't panic and turn the wheel back to the old direction, your life will respond. The physical circumstances will begin to reorganize. New opportunities will emerge. Old situations will resolve. The external reality will catch up to the internal shift. The question is, can you hold your frequency during the lag time? Can you trust that the shift is happening even when you can't see evidence of it yet? Can you remain faithful to your new state even when your bank account, your relationships, your circumstances still look the same as before? This is the test. This is where true mastery is demonstrated. Anyone can believe when they see proof. But can you believe before the proof arrives? That's the real question. Before you sleep, take a moment to drop one word in the comments below. One word that captures the energy, the intention, the transformation you're choosing right now. This isn't a casual comment. This is your energetic signature to the quantum field. It's your declaration of who you're becoming. So pause and leave that one word. Let it be a marker in your timeline, a signal to the universe of your commitment to this new frequency. And as you read through the comments after you post yours, notice the collective field we're creating together. Each word is a vibration. Each declaration is a wave of possibility. When we all hold this frequency together, we amplify it exponentially. We're not just individual creators. We're a collective consciousness choosing elevation. The more of us who embody this truth, the more the world reflects it back. We're not just changing our individual realities, we're changing the collective reality. We're raising the frequency of the entire field. Because something is happening to you tonight. The old story concludes here. The new one begins here. And from this point forward, you don't operate from fear or doubt. You live in faith. You live in conscious creation and perfect alignment. Keep watching. Keep listening. Keep choosing your frequency deliberately. Because the next message that finds you won't be random. It will be precisely what you need to rise even higher. That's how the universe operates. Precise and perfect. Subscribe now if you haven't already. Not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent with this frequency. To receive the next transmission when you need it most. To remain in this elevated conversation with yourself and with this community of conscious creators. Your subscription is more than a notification preference. It's an energetic commitment to your own evolution. It's a declaration that you're choosing to stay in this space of elevated awareness. I'll meet you there when our frequencies align again, because this is only the beginning of your becoming. This is the first step of an infinite journey. Every video you watch from this point forward will build on what awakened in you tonight. Every teaching will deepen your understanding. Every practice will strengthen your embodiment. You're not consuming content. You're receiving activations. You're remembering what you've always known. You're becoming who you've always been. Now that you understand how your consciousness selects which reality you experience, you need to see what happens when that choice becomes irreversible, when you step into a timeline where your power can no longer be denied. Watch, you're seeing this because your comeback timeline has begun. Next, because what you've activated tonight is already pulling you toward a version of yourself that's been waiting in the quantum field. This next transmission shows you exactly how to recognize and anchor into that timeline before doubt can pull you back. Tonight, as you close your eyes, feel the shift that's already occurred. Feel the lightness in your body. Feel the opening in your heart. Feel the clarity in your mind. This is your new baseline. This is where you live from now. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome home to your power. Welcome home to the truth of who you are. Everything begins now.